Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's pre-recorded Lean Publishing Tip of the Day, where we're going to be talking about writing good book descriptions. As usual, you can find the blog post for this tip of the day on our blog at leanpub.com/blog. And if you don't see it at the top or in the sort of list immediately on the blog page, the main blog page, you can use the little magnifying glass there to search and find this article with all of the relevant links that we have to relevant Help Center articles and things like that. So, and also, you can also find these Lean Publishing Tips of the Day on our YouTube channel at LeanPub. Please like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. So today I want to talk just briefly about writing good book descriptions. On your LeanPub book landing page, there's going to be both an About the Book section and a little teaser, what we call a teaser underneath the book. You're going to want to write both of these. The teaser is actually quite important. You'll see how prominent it is when I show you some examples soon. But writing a good book description is very important. As I always like to say, the first thing people are probably going to see in the discovery process of your book, going from learning about it to potentially buying it, the first thing they're probably going to see is the cover and the title somewhere. But the second thing they're probably going to see is that teaser and the book description. So they're just going to scroll down and see, what's in this book? What's this book about? So you want to try and get it. You want to try and do it well. I was going to say get it right. There's no right. These things don't work that way. But there is better and worse, and there is professional and unprofessional. And those are sort of important things to keep in mind. And one thing you'll find that's important to know is that, obviously when you're writing on the web for something that you want people to find, you're not just writing for the people who find it. You're writing for the bots and algorithms and stuff that are going to serve it up to them if they're searching for it, or serve it up to them in some various other ways. So you're going to want to keep SEO or search engine optimization kind of ideas in your mind. I wouldn't really recommend spending too much time or worry about this, or especially worry about getting it right. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to look for examples of recently best-selling books on the same subject that you wrote about, or if it's a nonfiction book, or the same genre that you're writing in, if it's fiction, and look at what other people have successfully done with their book descriptions. And what you're going to want to do with respect to SEO and stuff like that is you're going to want to keep in mind what the keywords are that keep appearing in these book descriptions for books that are bestsellers in your area. And even books and then you're going to want to keep in mind the keywords that would distinguish your book, that your book is really about. And you're going to want to make sure that these appear in your book description, but not in too clunky a way. You want it to appear natural. So as we link to in the article, we've got a Help Center article about finding the About the Book section for your book. Hopefully this should be relatively straightforward. There's, if you go to the overview page for your book, you'll see settings and you'll see this about kind of link, you'll see an about link. This is just a screenshot, but that'll take you to the about page for your book, where you'll be able to, add information about it and stuff like that. Just so you know what this will look like in the end, let me just share this tab. So here's a LeanPub book. This one's called The Cybernetic Enterprise: How to Build a Future-Ready Organization. You can see it's got a book. It's got a title and a subtitle, which is actually very important to have a good subtitle as well. If you don't have one in your LeanPub book, go put one in there now. This is very important for all kinds of reasons. Here's the little teaser that Romano has written. He's got a little bold statement at the top and then a sort of short paragraph underneath. Some people have longer teasers. Some people have shorter teasers. This looks like about kind of the right length to me, just enough for someone to scan and get them moving further down the page. In this case, actually, Romano's we recorded a LeanPub launch video with him, and that's been published already. So that's appearing here because he's decided to add it to his landing page. And we'll probably have one of these tips about setting up a LeanPub landing page in general in the future. So here's Romano's description. Romano's description is very good, very well written. He mentions that he's got forewords written by people, which is a very good thing to highlight if you've done that. He's sort of thought clearly about, like having a good description of it, and little sections like why it's different, who it's for, and what you'll be able to do, which is actually a really good idea. At the end of reading this book, what will you get out of it? Essentially, what new skills will you learn? Things like that. That if you've written a nonfiction book, that can be actually a very important thing to point out. Let me just share another example. So this is Dave Farley's book, Continuous Delivery Pipelines. Dave's got a much shorter and peppier kind of one-sentence teaser. And he's got a shorter kind of about the book section. And one of the interesting things about Dave's book here is that it's 99 pages long. Romano's was like, I don't know, like 700 or something. So, you know, having a shorter about the book description because you've got a shorter book might be a good idea. You want to be clear. He's using sort of keywords like the title of his book, continuous delivery, and using these kind of motivating language like building better software faster and things like that is an interesting thing to think about. Yet another book with a good book description, and actually I really like this cover. Is a really new release at the time of this recording by Johanna Rothman called Effective Public Speaking. She's got this very kind of punchy teaser. Public speaking is one of the most powerful ways to market your expertise and grow your influence. Right there, you've got this statement about like, you know, what the value is essentially of learning the skill that you learn from this book, and then stating what this book will do is very clear. And then she's got a bit of a longer, kind of like Romano had, a bit of a longer about the book description. But I've noticed authors more lately using this kind of bold and lists and things like that, which is very useful. One thing I like that Johanna talks about is how people kind of like why people dread public speaking, which famously they do. And I say that we do. And sort of getting empathetic like that, things like that is really good. And you can see that she also has a kind of, you'll learn how to kind of section, which can be really useful to have. Again, giving people, you know, a kind of like sense of what they're going to get when they buy this book. And she actually even explicitly says, buy this book and learn how to connect through stories and market your expertise through public speaking. Really kind of like a perfect kind of about the book, one sentence description that I really, really like. We go back to the blog post. So yeah, the reason I ran you through some examples rather than going into kind of high theory about book description is that the best way to come up with a good book description is to look for examples of well-written ones for well-written books that are sort of successful recently in the area that you have written about. And don't copy them. Don't cut and paste from the ones that you find, but just kind of internalize the kind of sense of things that they do, the structure that they have, things like what you'll get if you read this book, what you'll be able to do after you're done reading this book. Things like that can be really helpful for particularly the kind of nonfiction books that are published on Leanpub. And if you have published a book on Leanpub recently, or you published a new version recently and you'd like to be one of those little launch videos, go to leanpub.com/launch and you can apply to do a launch video. I do them myself with authors one-on-one. I really like doing them and having these short conversations about books so that people can have a video that they can share like that. Where they talk about their book. So the Lean Publishing tip of today was writing good book descriptions. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and please, in particular, please find our Leanpub channel on YouTube if you want to keep up to date with these latest Lean Publishing tips of the day. So thanks very much for watching.